Hey, I'm reading Proverbs 25:21 through 22. If your enemy is hungry, give him bread to eat, and if he is thirsty, give him water to drink. For so you will heap coals of fire on his head, and Yahweh will reward you. This was echoed by something that Yeshua said in Matthew 5. Let's see. I'm going to start in verse 43. You have heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies. Bless those who curse you. Do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you, that you may be sons of your Father in heaven. For he makes his sun rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the just and on the unjust. Sorry. For if you love those who love you, what reward have you? Do not even the tax collectors do the same? And if you greet your brethren only, what do you do more than others? Do not even the tax collectors do so? Therefore you shall be perfect, just as your Father in heaven is perfect. And then Paul quoted Proverbs in his book his letter to the Romans in chapter 12, starting in verse 17. Repay no one evil for evil, have regard for good things in the sight of all men. If it is possible, as much as depends on you, live peaceably with all men. Beloved, do not avenge yourselves, but rather give place to wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, says the Lord. Therefore, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him a drink. For in so doing, you will heap coals of fire on his head. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Over the last year, especially over the last year, evil people have made themselves known everywhere. They are anti-God, anti-Christ, anti-liberty. They are hypocrites and liars, thieves, murderers, kidnappers, child molesters. These people they have shown themselves everywhere. And it's tempting to want to take vengeance on them, to hurt other people the way that they are hurting you, or that they have hurt their country or their communities. But Yeshua and Solomon and Paul all said that if you are in a position to repay your enemies evil for evil, you should refrain. You shouldn't be the petty, vindictive sort that, as soon as you get the upper hand, accuses your enemy of all of the things that you have done, or wants to make them pay for everything. You know, most people who do evil things, most of them believe that they are doing the right thing. They're not deliberately trying to be evil. They're trying to do good. They just have a twisted, warped understanding of what good is. They are deceived. And if you are vindictive, if you attack those people and try to repay evil for evil, they're going to dig their heels in, and they're going to become more evil. You are going to prove their suspicions about you right. So when you believe that somebody has wronged you and you are finally in a position to make them pay for it, be kind. You don't have to be their best friend. You don't have to pal around with them. Just don't be petty. Don't be vindictive. Don't set out to hurt people just because they've hurt you. Now, this concept of being kind to your enemies is relative. There are times when you have to kill your enemies. You have to do bad things to them. You have to make them pay for the wrongs that they've done, to make things right, or to make sure that they don't do it again. But the point of those things is never simply to hurt them because they hurt you. The point is to accomplish an end, to gain liberty for yourself or your people, to make sure that someone who is wronged is made right again. There's no guarantee that if you are kind to your enemy, you will change their hearts or they will see things your way. But it's certainly more likely if you are petty and vindictive. Like I said earlier, they're going to dig their heels in. They're going to become more of what caused you to be enemies in the first place. They're not suddenly going to see the light of day, see things your way, and change who they were. But if you are kind to them, if you treat them with respect, you hold them accountable, but don't set out to hurt them, make them suffer. That will very often change hearts. And when Paul says you can overcome evil with good, he is talking about that concept, but he's also talking about good and evil inside you. When people do evil to you, if you're not in a position to stop them, then stewing about it and fantasizing about revenge is only going to compound the evil. The only way that you can overcome the evil that they have done to you is by praying for them, seeking to do good for them in exchange. Finding ways to help them find the truth, to see the world through undistorted eyes. And that's one of the most important ways probably that we can be kind to people. That we can heap those coals of fire on their head. Is to pray for them and to show them what it means to be kind to your enemies, to treat people well. And the more you do that, the more you become like Yeshua. And he's the only perfect man who's ever lived. So if you want to aim for perfection, behave like Yeshua did. Remember what he said on the cross. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. This is Jay Carper with American Torah. Be blessed.